I'm still kind of a people pleaser, I would say, like to this day, but I think kind of like setting boundaries on what you want to do, just stay true to who you are and what you want to do and not let people try to walk all over you.
From cornfields to high-rises, office to industrial, houses to hotels, and every other asset class in real estate, we cover the people, the projects, and the profit. Welcome to the Investing in Iowa show. This show is for go-doers, action takers, and business owners. It's for people like you who are sick of Uncle Sam taking a huge bite of your apple. If you're looking to get ahead of what's taking place in Iowa, learn who is doing what, and how you can get in on the action, you're in the right place. Hosted by Neil Timmins, an Iowa native who has been involved in over $300 million in real estate right here in Iowa. Recording in studio from West Des Moines. Here's your host, Neil Timmins.
I've got Theresa Agey here on the show. Theresa, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Neil.
I'm excited you're here. So for the audience's sake, who are you? Where are you from? What do you do?
So I am born and raised West Des Moines. I currently live in Ankeny. I have a furniture business, Home Furnishings. We are in Park Fair Mall. I've been there since 2011. So was that 14 years? I've been in furniture my whole life. My parents had a furniture business growing up. My dad accepted an offer he couldn't refuse for his building and his property from CVS Pharmacy, actually. And so he was ready to retire. And I was, I guess, dumb enough, you could say, to decide I wanted to be in business for myself. And I've been doing it since. So,
Did you go to college or you just go straight?
Yep. No, I went to college. I wasn't really sure that was what I wanted to do, but I kind of wanted to have something to fall back on. I loved numbers. So, I like math. I went into accounting. So I do have a bachelor's degree in accounting that is somewhat useful in what I do. But I think you can learn anything without a degree, I think also. So I don't think that's typically necessary. Yeah, right. I mean, there's so many ways of learning how to do something. So it's nice to have, but that type of degree is more for corporate like accounting, which,
Do you have siblings?
I do. I have an older brother that lives just a couple houses from me, and he's got a son and daughter. So we see them frequently. And then I do have a younger brother that lives here in Des Moines also, and they just had their first baby about almost 2 months ago. So I have another new nephew. And yeah, my mom's local. She's in Ankeny. And then I have 2 half sisters as well that are in the Des Moines area too.
So an older brother and a younger brother. Are either one of them in the furniture business?
No. So yeah, neither my older half sisters that, grew up in the business as well. They didn't want anything to do with it. My brother. So that's why I say I'm the dumb one that decided this was going to be a good idea. No, so one's in IT and one sells fuel. Nothing furniture related.
You get out of college, you got a degree in accounting. What'd you do?
At that point, so the timing my dad closed, basically as I was graduating. And then, his kind of right-hand gal actually got sick. She got colon cancer. And so he called me one day and he was like, I need you to come down here and like take over all this paperwork. And he just thinks like, I have this accounting degree now. I just know everything, all of a sudden. So I've never done payroll in my life. But, so that's kind of how I got started, and I kind of helped him a little bit. And then, he closed, sold his building. It all got torn down. And then there was a place for lease right across the street. And so I signed a lease thinking, we'll see how this goes. And now it's been, 10 years.
You've been there ever since. Well, some of the audience may in the world be wondering, what are we doing talking about furniture, right?
Yes.
But you and I have known each other, as you just said before we came on here, we've known each other for at least 7 years, maybe 8, somewhere in that range. And we've done business for a long time together. The fix and flip business, almost every single one of those properties, as they got turned, would get staged with furniture to be able to go in there to make the absolute best first impression, and then ultimately to put more dollars in our pocket. I always view the furniture as an investment. I don't know how many properties you've staged for me, but
quite a few. It would be fun if I would have kept track, but I could probably go back and find out with a little work. But yeah, quite a few. I had some friends that were in real estate. Actually a friend's mom, like several years ago, who she's like, could I borrow a sofa to put in a home that I have listed? It's not selling. And I think if we could stage it a little bit, it would really, go over well. And so I'm like, okay. So we did that. And the rest is kind of history as far as staging goes. We just kind of got more and more. It used to be, even now, I still say it's like such a small part of what I do, but it's becoming, we're staging 6 houses this week, which for being, I'm like 90% furniture sales. 10% home staging, but it's kind of slowly getting to be more and more. So, but it's truly, like you said, it is an investment. I mean, when somebody opens that door, you want to grab their attention, or even looking through Zillow, or real estate is not like it used to be where you had to go to the home to see it. I mean, you see everything online now. And if it doesn't catch your eye right away, you're going to keep looking. And even though the furniture isn't necessarily coming with the home, although we can make that happen too, that's more what's catching their eye, not really the home itself sometimes. And so it really is, for all of the money that you put into flipping a house or, remodeling a home, a little extra money home staging really is nothing compared to, I think, the sale is going to happen quicker, and you're going to get more money for the home.
I liken it to, think of the home as a person. I've got a great haircut. Everything's dialed in, well and aligned. And I show up for the big event in a t-shirt or in a tuxedo.
Yep.
That's the difference.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's how I view this and the furniture. My background starting 21 years ago. Unbelievable. 21 years ago as a real estate agent, brokering houses. My belief has always been that those pictures that get conveyed, Zillow and everywhere else in the world, somebody must walk into that home and have the same experience. Expectation of the pictures and the actual experience in person must perfectly align. Because you could go hire photographers and they will make that house look incredible online, and they're going to what happens is that people show up and they never buy it because you've got an expectation that's mismatched. You get pictures that look terrible and they show up and they're wild. The problem with that is very few people show up and you've lost money. So those things must perfectly align. This has been my criticism of AI staged furniture.
I was just going to bring that up.
Right?
People are so disappointed when they get to the home because it looks, AI is so good now that it's really hard to tell unless you are I can usually tell because I do this, just like you can, but it's so disappointing for people when they get to the home and it does not look like the pictures. Even if the home itself obviously is exactly the same, they're so turned off and they felt so misled, that I think they're done as soon as they show up.
It's the expectation management. It's misaligned, and therefore it's a challenge. I want to be perfectly aligned and then ideally be wowed even more as they go through the house. Sometimes we hold some pictures back.
Yeah, for kind of a surprise
even
element.
Even though it may not be anything that's certainly not holding the kitchen back, but there may be other aspects of your home. You're like, we just don't need to do that. It's not a big deal. The goal of the pictures is to get somebody into the home. And then that showing and that realtor doing the job that they do really well should get them over the line.
Yeah. And I think just even, I've worked with people just like homeowners that have moved out already and then we stage a house for them. And I've had even people say like, I don't know that I would have sold my home had I had you come and like design my house for me, because you can make it look so different and you can make a space look so different or unique, or some people just can't see like what it would look like, and so it's just helpful in placing things and seeing how big or small the space is, so it's helpful in so many ways.
Sometimes you get into unique spaces. We never know what we're going to get. We'll go buy a home. We're in that business. You're trying to find an opportunity, and then you're going to make the best of the opportunity you can. You might get into a 20-year-old home. You might get into an 80-year-old home. So sometimes there's weird spaces that furniture can help solve the problem for, or convey to that buyer to go, here's how it could look. Here's what you could do with it.
Right. Hey, Iowa investors. This is Ava Baukamp, Chief of Staff at Legacy Impact Investors. Have you thought about adding real estate to your portfolio but don't have the time or desire to play landlord? At Legacy Impact Investors, we do the heavy lifting. Our team finds the deals, manages the properties, and handles all the day-to-day operations. Our select group of qualified investors co-invest with us, gaining ownership equity without opening a tenant email or responding to a maintenance call. They just share in the income, appreciation, and tax benefits. These opportunities aren't for everyone. They are for qualified, accredited investors only. If you want to learn more, please visit LegacyImpactInvestors.com to apply.
Where do you see, I'm curious, clientele-wise, you stage furniture for a number of people. What percentage of the clientele are investors?
Definitely more investors. I would say probably 80% are, the typical 80-20 rule applies everywhere, I guess.
Yeah.
Which makes it easy because this is kind of a small part of what I do. That's always like what I've appreciated about working with you is it's very much like, I don't even know that I met you, honestly, for quite some time after we started working together, which I appreciate that because it makes my job so much easier when it's like, here's the door code, this is the address, done. Like there's not a lot of like back and forth and conversation. And, there's people that want to like pick out every single throw pillow and right. Maybe, yeah, something personal that you put in your house maybe, but like otherwise, yeah, I mean, it's just like, but I think you can agree, like your time is so valuable. And so for your sake or mine, you can't spend your whole day trying to like, so those type of people, there's not a lot of those, but I just nicely refer them to somebody that wants to spend a lot of time doing the design part. Whereas, we just want to get in, get out, and I've got your card on file and that's it. There's not a lot of here's a receipt. But that I think, which you can agree. I mean, it's nice to work with the same people, just like your contractors or whatever, people that you trust. I think it's so important to build those relationships with people. So
when
it makes
I can
it very
trust them
easy.
and they're excellent professionals in terms of what they do, you let them do their thing and get out of the way.
Yep.
Yeah, there isn't much that I could add value to in a design standpoint. I don't know if I ever told you, but when we were flipping at scale, we decided on the paint color like 6 to 8 years ago.
Blue?
No, this is great. Well, you're talking the exterior. The exterior is blue. Yeah.
It's funny because my guys that are always with me, when we pull out, they're like, "Oh, this is a Neil house," because it was always blue and gray inside. Yes.
It's got decided. The countertops got decided.
Yeah.
The light fixtures got decided. The carpet got decided.
But streamlining all of those things is a million times easier, and you save so much time.
It'd have to be, we know what exact buy box is. Here's what we're doing, exactly what it is, et cetera, et cetera. And it would have to be something really wonky outside of that. We did a high-end house. I can't remember. It was just past COVID, Lake Panorama.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So we get into one like that, when it's 700 or 800.
Right. And then it's a little different.
We had to make some changes other than that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's so hard too, because it's like, you don't know, you might put flooring down and the homeowner might want to tear it out anyway. So, I mean, but especially when trends are in anyways. I mean, when gray, was so on par anyways with what everyone was doing, it's not broken, don't fix it.
When our team was delivered, the perfect home would have been $199,000. $199,999 out to market, first time home buyer home, perfect and new and structurally sound. There's no need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, I agree.
You deal with a number of investors, and that means, yes, you get a stage property, but you also got to go pick up the furniture. So you have a good sense of how long it's taking for properties.
I do. I always feel like I'm kind of in the know of like how the real estate market is based on how long things are sitting, which that can vary obviously quite a bit, if it's a unique property or a condo, or those things are always a little different. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's pretty rare, I feel like, that we have something staged for more than 45 days. And typically, even then, it's under contract before then. We're just waiting on inspection and all that to go through. But it's pretty unusual that we have something sit for longer than 30 to 45 days.
When you go into a home like that, you're going to go stage it. When you see the investors who sell it in a timely fashion, they come back and repeat. What are they doing inside that home? In their remodel that you're going, yeah, they're going to sell us, and they're going to keep doing this. What are they doing really well in their process, or in that, the physical product they put out?
Well, I think there's, I've worked with people that really, really, really cut corners. And, it's like if you just spent like a little extra money and did something just a little better, I do think it makes a big difference. But, for example, we were just at a property and they had installed all new towel holders, towel bars. They didn't put any anchors in the wall. So like as soon as I hung a hand towel, the whole thing just like pulled out of the wall. It was the same with like remotes for ceiling fans. They had installed like the remote holder to the wall. They just pull out and to me, it's like if as a home buyer, if I'm going in and I can see that that's to me, it's like, what kind of work did you do that I can't see? And so I think just like making sure all of those like small details, because those truly are what people I think notice are small things. But I think staying on point, with trends that are, you're putting in, like right now, I feel like the kind of lighter colored flooring is in style, paint colors and such, those kinds of things. I can kind of tell walking in like, oh, this is going to be a quick sale, or, this might be here a while. But I also understand, from an investor standpoint, like sometimes you don't want to put reside a whole house because you don't know what the buyer may want. Do you allow for an allowance, for new siding, or, so there's always, things that can alter that.
What's it feel like, when it's done over the summer? What's it feel like it's doing now?
I think the summer was very slow. So even just in the last probably 3 weeks, I would say things have picked up a lot. Things have been selling much quicker is what I'm seeing at least. I know we've had a condo downtown that's been staged almost a year. October will be a year, and it finally just went under contract about a week ago. Which again, like HOA fees were high. I mean, it didn't have a lot going for it, but a lot of things that were out of control of the seller. And so we did a few extra things there to kind of try to, get it sold, and it finally is, hopefully.
Let's talk about Airbnbs. Tell me about the work that you
Yeah.
completely different.
It is, yeah. So same kind of though with staging, it's all about the first impression. Like when you're as a consumer, you're looking through Airbnb for your trip coming up, like you are so focused on the pictures. That's all you're getting. You don't even get an address on Airbnb or so you really have nothing to go off of. A lot of times you don't even see the outside of the house necessarily. So you don't really know what you're getting. And so I think especially almost Airbnb more, the first impression matters so much. And so I think picking bright colors, things that really draw the eye to a certain property, or, I think of ones that you've done, like the pickleball court, or things that really will attract someone. But those are kind of a fun project too. And they're a little different, yes, because the stuff is typically staying. It's not coming in and out. But even that's a little different in the way of, you're picking things that are more durable maybe, or, because those things usually get a lot of abuse versus in a stage property, I want the lightest weight sofa that we're hauling in and out a million times. And so it's different, just like what I sell in my store is different than my staging inventory. That's different than Airbnb inventory. So it's all different and kind of unique in its own way. But yeah, Airbnbs are a lot more work for my, and those are kind of fun though too, because every person I work with is so different also. We have people that just want like the big major furnishings, beds, living room furniture, dining, and then they want to take care of all of the small stuff. And then there's people like you who prefer that every bath towel is picked out and everything, down to the silverware is all done. And to me, it doesn't really matter either way. But it's just everyone is so different. And so it's just finding. But that's what's nice though, is you can we're such a small company too that, we can be very flexible in what people want. And so even with, staging or whatever, we don't, we're pretty, if you need another week for your inspection, I'm not over here charging you another month worth of, staging. So
it's good to be that flexible, especially as it relates to Airbnbs, because so much vision has to go into those Airbnbs. So you talked about on the house flipping side, the details matter. The details really matter on the Airbnbs because reviews are the lifeblood of that business.
They really are.
That is how you get ultimately moved up in ranking on Airbnb's website. That's how you get higher number of eyes.
Yeah. I think that's probably the hardest part too for me, is conveying that to somebody, especially that's like starting their first Airbnb. Is, there's people that want to spend like $0 and they want to buy the cheapest bath towel and the cheapest silverware and the cheapest everything. And, my motto is always like, buy nice or buy twice. You're gonna replace it if it's cheap, or people just aren't gonna be thrilled. I've stayed at an Airbnb that looked great in pictures, but once I got there, it was just, you could tell they went to IKEA and they bought the absolute cheapest of everything, and I wouldn't stay there again. And so I think that those things do matter for sure.
The Airbnb. So you did, we've got a couple in Valley Junction did for me. They're apartments over commercial, and they are right next to each other. Literally. It's just a hall. It's just right next to each other. Well, one does about 20% better than the other one.
Oh, interesting.
Because the one that doesn't do as well, there's a dog groomer down below. Dogs bark, even though it's disclosed in the notes or whatever. We've had one or two people give us less than 5-star reviews. So the review ratings aren't the same.
Interesting.
Even though they're literally.
Yeah, they're basically
4 feet apart.
Twins. Mirror images of each other.
Unbelievable. Because of that, the ratings and the views are different. And the one with the higher rating.
So you must not be able to hear the dogs at the
I'm
next door.
sure you can.
I would think so. They're pretty close.
It just hasn't been reviewed.
Interesting.
Yeah. A review hasn't come.
Which I would think they're only open like during the day.
They're
not like a boarding place.
And only, I think, 4 days a week, maybe. Maybe it's 5, but like one random day during the week they're not, and they close. I want to say 5:30 or 6.
Oh wow!
There's no dog there overnight.
Interesting. No different than your neighbor's dog barking.
Yeah, right. In a condo, it would be identical.
Right.
So I just thought I'd elaborate on how the reviews matter so much, and getting the furniture and the pieces right, so that they're durable, because you're going to get.
Yeah. Well, and just like, you're trying to maximize your sleeping space, and it's just different. You're putting in, you want to sleep a ton of people in a small space, but also have furniture that doesn't look like you have a bunch of beds everywhere, but also have stuff that you can put sheets on and all those things that are
because the bed
necessary
count,
for
the number of people you can sleep matters a big deal.
Mhm.
So in those, you're selling a lot of beds in the Airbnbs.
Yes, a lot of beds. I
I
never want to be the person that's cleaning the Airbnbs because that's a lot of sheets to change.
Size-wise, I guess when you're staging a home, what's a sweet spot for you? You're staging $2 million homes?
So we prefer to stay, I would say, in the like 150 to like 500,000. I would say that's kind of our sweet spot. Time wise, it's easy for us to get in and out. It's less square footage that we're doing. We try to keep a pretty reasonable staging cost. And I think there's just other people in the market that are geared more towards the higher end homes. And that's fine with me. I mean, we all have to have our place, and that's just our place, and it works well for us. And it's nice that you can, I think having a sweet spot does help with just like the type of furniture. I can reuse a lot of the same products. I'm not needing stuff for like a really new, modern $2 million home in Waukee. We like the Des Moines metro area. The homes are similar in age. And so the product that you're using is similar. It kind of fits everywhere. I want to maximize the amount of times I can use an item to make it more cost effective for us. And I want everything to be, we try to keep very neutral pieces that can kind of go anywhere. And so that's been well for us.
Are you staging a whole house, sections of the house?
We don't. So probably like 5 years ago, we kind of stopped doing all bedrooms, and we really just focus on dining, living, kitchen, and typically like a main floor bathroom if there is one. Because again, like first impressions, I feel like by the time you walk through the living room and the kitchen and the dining room, maybe you've already decided whether you like the house or not. A bedroom is going to house a bed and a dresser, and most people can kind of see what that would look like. So, which makes it much easier for us. So we can be in and out in 30 minutes if we're just doing, kind of those basic rooms. And of course, if someone, like the condo I was speaking about downtown, we did a bedroom in there just to try to help do anything we can to get it sold. Or if it's a unique space that, needs something a little extra, of course, we can do that too. But that seems to work well. It's less expensive for whoever is paying for the staging, and it's less work for us. And I feel like the result is the same. So
if you're a house flipper, execute the burst strategy or do double closings and are in need of money, Little Guy Loans is your go-to lender here in the Des Moines area. Time is money. Loan approvals in 24 hours. Closings in 5 days. Little Guy Loans was founded by Neil Timmins, an investor just like you. Since he has been in over 10,000 homes in Des Moines, there's never an appraisal. Houses, multifamily, and commercial property loans up to $1 million. Check out www.littleguyloans.com.
All right. Give me a pulse on the, because everybody I talk to, almost everybody I talk to, got a really good pulse on the market. They invest, their own business, their cash flow. I want to talk to me about your business more specifically. Give me a pulse of the general economy as it relates to your business.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I would say pre-COVID specifically, like our bread and butter season was tax refund times. February and March, we were insanely busy every year, year after year. And then ever since COVID, that's changed drastically. I would say we are just as busy as we've always been, but it's much more spread out throughout the year. So I'm not exactly sure why, but it's definitely not that big tax time money that we were used to always doing. As normally summer is kind of our slow time, but summer's been busier or just as busy, as February and March time.
How's the year to date? How's 25, its first full 8 months of the year compared to 24?
So our year end actually ends in August. So we just had our year end and we were up from last year. So, which I'm super grateful for, honestly, because in the furniture world with, online shopping and all these big, Wayfairs and Amazon and all those places. I mean, there is a lot of furniture stores closing. And so every year I'm very grateful that we're still doing well. I think somewhat to my flexibility to, getting into like the stagings. And I was just at a meeting for our buying group a short time ago, and people thought I was crazy. They're like, I can't believe you stage houses. And I'm like, but why? I mean, you have all of the product, you're buying it at wholesale pricing already. So you can already beat almost anyone else's price and you reuse the same product. I mean, like you are by far getting your money's worth. It's almost costing you nothing by the time you use it a few times. But so in like getting into Airbnbs, or I don't want to say we're not really designed so much, but if somebody comes in and some people just have no idea, we just moved to this new house, what can I do? And send me some pictures, we'll pick stuff out for you. Some people just, they want no say in anything. And a lot of other, you're not going to go to a big furniture store and have someone do that, And so I think being adaptive to the market and changes and trying to keep up with online presence, and we're on TikTok now and Facebook and all those things, it's hard to keep up with all of that. But I think getting yourself out there and constantly making people look at you, does remind people that you're here. And so, and I try to be present. I do think as a small business, like being present, being around, people know me, as like, oh, you're the girl from the furniture store. I am the furniture girl on TikTok. So it's like people really do know who you are. They come in asking for me by name. They know that I am there and ready and happy to help them.
And you guys deliver everything and you build it.
We do. Yes. That's
so I don't know how many pieces I bought from you personally. And I'm like, I'm never going to build anything in my life.
Yeah. That's the worst. That is. I mean, and that's part of, like,
labor intensive. Somebody's going to build it.
It is.
Of course, it's the worst. That's why all the companies have shoved it down on our plate to go, you want to buy this stuff? Cool. You got to put it together, though. You have figured out how to put it all crap in a box. It doesn't last.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's, everything is becoming more IKEA-like. Even something that you look at it, you wouldn't think that came in a million pieces, but I mean, everything just comes in a smaller box, more pieces, and we spend a lot of man hours weekly putting stuff together. But truthfully, as much as it's not like the most fun thing to do, it almost prevents problems. But, people take something home, they get it unboxed, there's 800 pieces. We end up at their house anyways, putting it together. And so I would almost rather just assemble it and deliver it. And then we just know that it's done and it's done right, for warranty purposes and all of those things, I know that it's good to go from the beginning, at least. Then whatever happens after that, who knows? But yeah, not the most fun part though, for sure.
No, I can't imagine.
But we're pretty good at it.
Yeah.
So,
all right, you ready for the final three questions?
Sure.
If you had one piece of advice for your 20-year-old self, what would it be?
Gosh. I think it would be, I'm still kind of a people pleaser, I would say, like to this day, but I think kind of like setting boundaries on what you want to do. Like, for example, if we have people that like, I want all the bedrooms in the house staged, I could go out of my way and make that happen, but I would just nicely refer them to somebody else that does that regularly and not trying to please every single person, because I think that honestly just exhausts you and it will make you not want to do this anymore. So I think kind of sticking firm to what you say, or people that want to try to change the way that you do things because they just think they're special, and I think you can do that in a respectful, kind manner, but just to stay true to who you are and what you want to do and not let people try to walk all over you.
2 books that changed your life.
Oh gosh, changed my life. I'm not a big reader. What other questions do you I'm a big podcast listener.
2 podcasts that changed your life.
I don't know that they've changed my life. I only listen to podcasts for the fun of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the escape. Yes.
I don't listen to a lot of podcasts to like get
information.
No, I do. I more listen to it as like a relaxing.
What do you take in? Murder mysteries? What are you listening to?
I do. Or like funny podcasts, I would say. But I do like good murder mystery too. Yeah, I do. I spend a lot of time in the car. So I do enjoy it. But yeah, nothing that's changed my life though, really. I'm trying to think. I guess I better read more books. I don't know.
There's no right or wrong. We all get information to learn how to do things. And also, next question. How about that?
Okay.
If you were cast away on an island for a year, you could only get 3 pieces of data about your business each month.
Okay.
What 3 things must you know in a month to know how your business is running?
Oh, I like to know everything. So this is a hard question. I like to be in control. So this is a hard question. If I can only know 3 things, I would definitely want to know how many homes we're staging. I would want to know what the economy is like. And I would want to know, doesn't everybody want to know how much money are we making? Is that a fair answer?
Theresa, I've asked lots of questions. It's been great. What's one question I did not ask that I should have asked?
I think just in general, like, where is the furniture industry going? Which I don't really know that I know the answer to. But I think they're one of the world's, well, it is the world's biggest furniture manufacturer. I won't name names, but I'm going there next week. And I'm very curious to see, they have a ton of technology and robotics and all kinds of things. And I just think they have a whole AI team that they've hired now. And so I'm very curious to see how AI is going to change the furniture world specifically, although, the whole world really, but furniture specifically, because that pertains to me on a daily basis. But I think just being in retail in general, I think is just changing very drastically. And so I'm very curious to see where it will take me. You're probably right. Fortunately.
One of your questions perhaps next week is,
how can we make this
fewer boxes and less to assemble? How can we make
that would be nice.
Less expensive.
That would be nice. It's very interesting though.
But it seems, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like there's a drive to put it in fewer boxes, to make more pieces, ultimately to drive costs down in the assembly.
Correct.
And as a result, that's a consequence.
Correct. Yes. I think that, the shipping, you can, ship more things in a semi that way. It is. I do think though, quality definitely goes down. So it is a problem. There's just more damage and, all kinds of things. But, we're getting, some boneless couches in next week that come completely foam. They're all foam, so they come rolled up in a box, and you open it, and a sectional pops out. So there's they call it boneless. There's no wood. There's no screws. There's nothing.
It poofs. It like inflates after because it's all shrink.
Yep. So, but it's like keeping up with all of those things, it's just hard but that's the way it's going. But, for a tight space where you're trying to get something up an attic, down a basement, so there's definitely going to be a place for them for sure. But it is hard they have a huge furniture market in Las Vegas, and I go every year, and it's fun to see all of the new things that are coming out. But it's hard to keep up, like in Iowa, I think specifically, we're always the last ones to get all of the new trends and right. Yeah. So we truly are kind of right in the middle. So it's hard to keep up sometimes.
For people that want to find you, follow you, connect with you, where can they go?
Yes, we are online, homefurnishingsiowa.com. We are on Facebook, Home Furnishings, and then also on TikTok at The Furniture Girl.
Thanks for listening. If you're enjoying the show, may I ask a favor of you? Naturally, subscribe so you never miss an episode. But would you rate and leave an honest written review on Apple Podcasts? Does a lot for us here at the show, and I appreciate reading your thoughts. Great guests make for a great show. If you know of another Iowan who would be a great guest, or you yourself have interest in being a guest, well, get on our radar. Visit Investing in Iowa to fill out an application or recommend a guest. And if you want to connect with me one-on-one, go to LegacyImpactInvestors.com. Click on the Invest With Us button in the top right corner, and there you can pick a time for the two of us to get on the calendar and connect. Until next time, keep investing.